Okay, so have you noticed that medieval fashion is suddenly everywhere? I was scrolling the other day and boom, corset dresses, billowy sleeves, long flowing capes, even chainmail inspired looks. And it's not just some niche thing. Designers are literally pulling inspiration straight out of the Middle Ages and putting it on the runway. W magazine even did a whole piece on it. Welcome to Threads of Time. If you love exploring the rich and fascinating world of fashion history, you're in the right place. Every week, we unravel the stories behind the clothing that shaped entire eras, from the practical to the extravagant. Fashion in the Middle Ages was more than just fabric. It was a symbol of power, status, and survival. Let's step back in time and explore how knights, nobles, and peasants dressed to define their place in medieval society. Today, we'll explore how the fashions of the Middle Ages evolved, focusing on three distinct social classes: the knights, the nobles, and the peasants. Each group had a unique style that reflected their status and lifestyle. Let's begin with the knights, the iconic symbol of medieval Europe. Knights were known for their heavy plate armor, intricately crafted and often embellished with heraldic surcoats that displayed their family coat of arms. These surcoats, made of wool or silk, were worn over armor and often featured vivid colors and designs. Beneath the chainmail or plate armor, knights would wear a gambeson, a padded garment that added comfort and protection. When knights went into battle, they wore helmets with visor slits for protection, leaving just enough room for vision. Their armor, from greaves to gauntlets, was designed for both defense and mobility, and the riveted joints allowed for flexibility and movement. With their finely crafted swords, shields, and lances, knights were both feared and admired. Now let's turn our attention to the nobility, whose fashion was a reflection of their wealth and influence. Noblemen and women often wore garments made from rich materials like silk, velvet, and damask, and their attire was often adorned with intricate gold thread embroidery. Noblemen favored garments such as the doublet, a snug-fitting jacket often made of wool, silk, or velvet. These were frequently paired with hose, tight-fitting trousers made from linen or silk, and short cloaks or mantles, sometimes lined with fur. The sleeves were often exaggerated with puffed or slashed designs, allowing the fabric beneath to peek through, showcasing vibrant colors. Women of the nobility were known for their Gothic gowns, which featured princess seam bodices that tightly cinched the waist. The A-line skirts of these gowns flared out dramatically, often reaching the floor. The sleeves were another standout feature, often elongated and bishop style, gathering at the wrist. Over their gowns, noblewomen wore elaborate headdresses, such as coifs or coronets, made from fine fabrics like velvet and decorated with precious gems. Not all medieval clothing was so lavish. The majority of people in the Middle Ages were peasants, and their fashion was defined by necessity. Peasants wore simple, practical garments designed for work. Men and women typically wore tunic dresses made from undyed wool or rough linen. These tunics had gathered cuffs at the wrists and drawstring waistbands to keep them fitted, providing comfort and ease during labor. These garments were often patched with leather for durability. Their footwear was equally functional. Peasants wore leather shoes or moccasins made from tanned hides and woven grass sandals when working in the fields. Over their tunics, they would wear simple coats made from wool, often with hoods to protect them from the elements. These garments, though unadorned, were a crucial part of their daily lives, designed for hard work rather than beauty. As time passed, medieval fashion began to evolve. By the 14th century, knights were wearing Gothic plate armor, with curved pauldrons and fluted greaves, providing both protection and a show of wealth. Armor became more ornate, with intricate etched designs and engraved symbols. The visor helmet evolved as well, becoming more expressive, with open-faced designs that allowed knights to show their faces during tournaments and battles. Meanwhile, the nobility began to adopt even more extravagant styles. Gowns became tighter and more fitted, with elaborate lacing and stiffened collars. Noblemen's clothing continued to evolve with the peascod doublet, a tightly fitting garment that shaped the torso with padding and stiffened layers, often embellished with gold trim and metal clasps. Fashion also began to shift toward a more flamboyant, exaggerated style, particularly in the late medieval period. Long, pointed shoes and tight-fitting hose became the height of fashion for the aristocracy, while courtly men sported oversized sleeves with slashed openings, revealing the contrasting colored fabric underneath. These trends were not just about beauty, they were about displaying one's status and wealth. Fashion is a cycle. What was once worn in the Middle Ages continues to inspire modern designers in unexpected ways. From the structured corsets and laced bodices inspired by medieval gowns, to the dramatic capes, chainmail textures, and intricate embroidery reminiscent of noble attire, echoes of medieval fashion still walk today's runways. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the evolution of medieval fashion. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the clothing of knights, nobles, and peasants, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fashion history content. We're just getting started. Next week, we'll explore the Renaissance era and how it gave birth to haute couture with lavish fabrics, extravagant embroidery, and the rise of fashion as an art form. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.